Have you done your vocal warm-ups?
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm very glad I started recording 10 seconds ago.
Awesome. This is the introduction to the show.
This is the introduction to the show. Welcome to Video Games and Chill, episode 3.
Are we actually going into it like that?
We're actually going into it like that. Why not?
Fair enough.
It's episode 3, Dan. You know what that means?
It's time for the Not E3 show.
It is time for the Not E3 show, but it's also time to take the podcasting to the next level.
Okay. How are we doing that?
We're in the next stage of our relationship with the podcast.
Okay. Is it going to cop a feel? Because I really don't consent to that.
It might cop a feel.
Okay. Is it David Copperfield?
It is. How are we doing, Dan?
A little bit sniffly, a little bit tired, but you know, it's been a good couple of weeks. I haven't really left this room much to the chagrin of my girlfriend.
No, I've not left this room much either. I've got a new setup. I've got
But Sam, where is the bookcase that used to be behind you?
Oh, big changes coming. The bookcase is there. You can't see it. There will be some art on this wall next podcast if we ever make it to episode 4.
I have some art somewhere. You can't see.
I was going to say, can we see, or is that too behind the scenes?
I mean, I could lift up my iMac. There you go.
Oh, I like it. What is it?
It's the map from The Witcher 3.
Cute.
Came with the special edition.
I've got some The Last of Us art, Super Mario Odyssey art, and Zelda art coming. Is this Xenoblade? Yes.
So that's going to go up at some point. And I've been toying with reorganising my office as well, so it could well be next time you're going to have a giant whiteboard behind me with D&D notes.
Oh, wonderful. We'll have 2 different backdrops.
We'll have 2 different backdrops. Or I could just totally green screen it and then pretend that I'm in the fiery pits of hell, which is where I'm... Or even better, I could pretend that I'm in a hotel room just with a dressing gown on and, you know, go that way and just, you know...
I'd like
try and have a parlay with our solo viewer.
I'd like it if that wasn't a green screen. If you literally just built a hotel room in your office.
I mean, I could always do this through my laptop in a real hotel room.
You could.
But, yeah, I mean, that would be interesting. Expensive, but interesting. Maybe once the money starts rolling in for this thing.
Reggie,
I'll
keep those views coming in.
Yep, keep that singular view coming in. As long as he doesn't hit that big old red button, that's fine.
It's fine. We've got a lot.
How are you, anyway?
Oh, I'm good. I'm really good. As I say, I've been. Main thing I've been doing is just setting up this new office /work /streaming space. I've started streaming on Twitch. I'm Samuel Carmody. No spaces or anything on Twitch. It says it on my name just there.
Unless I'm flipped, in which case it says it right there.
That's right. So a lot of things have been going on. Sony have obviously done a huge reveal for the PS5. No, not huge.
It wasn't a huge reveal. We knew the PS5 was coming, and you know, outside of one title potentially, we knew pretty much all of the others were coming.
No way. There were some big surprises, but we'll get into that. For now, Dan, it's the question we ask every week. What have we been playing? Oh, sorry.
Just to mention, the PS5 event is going to replace our discussion this week. Oh,
that's right. It's not
because we couldn't think of anything else to talk about.
Definitely not. We are much more professional than that. Now, the news and the discussion, you're right, are going to be a little bit merged this week. Again, now, on to the age-old question. What have you been playing this week?
Over the last couple of weeks, I've been playing a number of things. I've actually been playing games. It's really quite unsurprising. We are not going to talk about Animal Crossing another week, despite the fact that, yes, I'm still playing that on a daily basis. First thing I'm going to bring up, and the first thing that pretty much is I discovered straight after the recording for last week, or 2 weeks ago, last fortnight, however the hell we're talking about this. Spider-Man is on PlayStation Now, and it will be for the next 2 weeks once this goes online, because it disappears on July the 7th. So I decided to grab the free trial of PlayStation Now and try playing Spider-Man. I was not amused. I managed to get through the first opening section, where I beat Travis Willingham to unconsciousness and put him in the back of a van. Travis Willingham is the voice actor for Wilson Fisk.
Okay. I
Just
didn't get the reference.
Okay. Also, Travis Willingham is on Critical Role, which is 3 hours of my week that I tend to watch nerdy ass voice actors play video games. Anyway, yeah, it wasn't great. There was an awful lot of lag. So, in case anybody is unaware, PlayStation Now is where there is a PlayStation somewhere in the cloud playing this game and streaming it straight through the internet. Straight up there, yeah. How it does this is magic, but it's obviously a low-level wizard that's doing it because the magic isn't that great. Some of it was great, some of it was really smooth, and then there were times where I couldn't see anything for blocks on the screen. And then it took me far longer than it should have done to beat the first boss, who is Wilson Fisk. Oh no, spoilers.
I struggled with that as well, you know.
Yeah. And then I got to past that and into the part where the game is supposed to open up into an open world, New York City, here, go do whatever the hell you want, find all these backpacks, find all these pigeons. And of course, the first thing that happens there is it goes, hey, we're going to teach you how to assign skills. But the skills tree is locked behind a touchpad on the PlayStation 4 controller. So if you don't have a PlayStation 4 controller, you can't play. There's a workaround which involves, installing some controller mapping software and performing a dark ritual to Bahamut, who is actually not a dark bad guy. Essentially, you need to talk to some demons, smoke a little bit of reefer, and then you are able to progress in Spider-Man. And I just really wasn't willing to put in the effort for what was a week's free trial, so I played for about an hour and gave up. I will wait until it comes out for PC, or I can be bothered to buy a PlayStation controller, which is probably going to be never. So
it's a shame, isn't it? Because it was designed around the PlayStation 4, not around anything else. So you can see why it's an issue, but it still doesn't really excuse it.
I mean, PlayStation Now is supposed to be there. Hey, you can play these PlayStation titles on things that aren't a PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
So you could play it on PS3. You could play it on. You used to be able to play it on the Vita. You could play it on PC, whatever, any other device that is PlayStation Now compatible. But if you don't have a PlayStation 4 controller, which is 60 odd quid, my choice to go with an Xbox One controller is apparently, means that I can't play certain games on there, which is fine, I get it, but not having a single workaround for it, or it saying, "Hey, we detect that you don't have a touchpad on your controller." When you need to do anything on the touchpad, just smash spacebar.
Mm-hmm. It's a difficult one as well.
Be a nice little toggle there to have, because what if I'm using a PS3 controller?
It's a difficult one because, like, let's say the Wii Remote and Nunchuk games were designed like around that control scheme, and you can see why that's difficult to emulate with any other controller. But just an additional touchpad. Do many games use it that much? I can't remember Spider-Man using it.
Spider-Man uses it to unlock his phone, so he actually uses the touch controls, and then obviously tapping it or clicking it will open your skills menu. The thing which really irritated me is the fact that both the Xbox controller and the PlayStation controller have this share button on the left-hand side, which you can't use in PlayStation now. So why can't you just map that damn button to the touch bar being tapped?
And you say another just quick note. You say it's only available for a week, 2 weeks.
The free trial was a week. Spider-Man has been available for a while, but it goes out. It drops off of PlayStation Now on the 7th of July, I believe. At which point they'll probably drop something up on else up on there, like Horizon Zero Dawn. In fact, it's probably likely to be that, given the announcements this week. There's Bloodborne on there, but it's like with the lag, I'm not going to play Bloodborne through that because, fair enough. Wilson Fisk was giving me a lot of trouble. If I try and face not even a boss, just a normal bad guy in Bloodborne, I am going to be, throwing my controller through the screen.
You're going to be kicked to the curb.
I won't even be kicked to the curb. I'll be kicked through the curb, down through to the bowels of hell, where Cthulhu decides he's going to, play poker with my brain.
I didn't realise it was a rotating cast of games.
Yeah, I think it is. There's the standard ones, like the old PlayStation 3 games, and some of the older PS4 titles. But yeah, you don't have the big old titles. Like, it's not like EA Access, where everything that comes out on EA Access, pretty much, or everything that EA makes and produces and publishes comes out on EA Access. It's a case of, yeah, we've got a selection of games which could change, which is fine. I get that. And if I was able to play Spider-Man properly, yeah, you best believe I would spend, that time until the July the 7th completing that game. But given the issues that I had with it, which is a shame, because I've watched Spider-Man be played through, and I really enjoy the story. I enjoy the world, and
it's a great game.
I mean, hell, it's Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's
Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man Arkham.
Yes really. And no, because Batman throws his people off of buildings and they just go down and die. Spider-Man, you throw them off of buildings and he webs them up on a window somewhere nearby, and you he's not killed them. It was disappointing, but not altogether unsurprising. Safe to say, I'm not going to pay 15 quid a month and then pay 50 quid out extra to get a controller that I would just use purely for that. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll find some time to do a more in-depth discussion on sort of game streaming services and what they provide at some point in the future. He says, knowing that it's actually on our list of discussion topics that we could potentially choose from.
Don't let them peek behind the curtain, Dan. I keep telling you. You keep giving them this inside information.
I mean, Reggie knows what we've got on our Google Drive anyway, and I don't have curtains, I've got blinds.
Well, that's true.
What have you been playing, Sam?
I've finally finished Fire Emblem Three Houses. I know I've spoken about that for the last 2 episodes, but the finale was fantastic. It's a sort of game where towards the end, or in the second half, you've made your decisions, you've sided with who you're going to side with, and it made me think at certain points, am I siding with the villains here? Have I made like the evil path choice? But I don't think there is a right and wrong choice, and that's what I really enjoyed about the game. It was a bit bloated and drawn out in the first part, but I pushed past it, and I think it was worth pushing past. But I have a full review on that on my website, samuelcarmody.co.uk. So, Reggie,
actually finished it up.
I've actually finished it and put it up.
Oh, I was unaware of this. I knew you were working on it, but I didn't realise you'd finished it.
Mm-hmm. So, Reggie, go to samuelcarmody.co.uk to see that.
So the question remains, is it a good enough game that you would be willing to go back and play as one of the other houses?
Not right.
Bearing in mind you've only completed one of the house storylines, and apparently there's the 3 house storylines which are a little bit different, and then I believe there's a 4th after you've done all 3.
Well, I sort of inadvertently took what I hear people calling the secret route.
Oh,
Which
lovely when that happens, isn't it?
it is, but it was just me making the choices I would have made.
Oh yeah, I did that for something. There was a game which I played ages ago where I was talking about it to a couple of friends, and they were like, "What the hell are you talking about? That's not in the game." And I was like, "Totally is."
Yeah.
And then we looked at it, and it turned out that I'd taken a completely different route that just happened to be a secret route. And it's like, oh, okay.
That's
And I
exactly.
can't for the life of me remember what the game is.
That's exactly what I did, because I think I'd read, I was looking up how many chapters were in the game, and it was like 22 on a normal playthrough, and then I was looking up, and I looked up the chapter I was on, and it was chapter 18 or chapter 17, and they were like, yeah, it's the final chapter. I was like, I assumed it was because it looks like there's a big boss coming, and it looks like this is the last thing, but it said yeah, that's the final chapter on the secret run. I was like, oh, okay. Uh, I've also been playing Luigi's Mansion 3 because I'm trying to work through my backlog, and that's just a fantastic game. I've never played Luigi's Mansion 1 or 2, but Luigi's Mansion 3 made me want a sort of Pixar horror film. Like the anime.
Okay, I get that. Yeah.
The animation is that it's just that fun. Luigi as a character is just so endearing. Even like so in cutscenes, all the characters are really like wonderfully expressive. But sort of even during gameplay, like you'll open a drawer and something will pop out at you, and Luigi will like look terrified for a minute and like walk the way his walk cycle's completely different, and just little things like that. And it even goes through to like the controls are a little bit clumsy. Have you ever played Luigi's Mansion?
I played the original.
Yeah. I'm assuming the controls are pretty much similar with that sort of tank style movement. You can't fix the you can't move the camera.
I think so. Yeah, if memory serves.
Yeah, and they're a little bit clumsy, but not in a way that's like that detracts from the experience. It almost
It's intentionally clumsy, not badly developed clumsy.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a little bit of getting the hang of. But
From what I recall, the animations are. I would link the animations to probably Uncharted, where it is clear that Nathan Drake is not a military dude. He is definitely uncomfortable being in this big old shootout, and he's running around like a crazy person, going, "Ah!"
yeah,
It's that sort of. I'm not comfortable in this environment. Please help me.
but like cartoony and over the top as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because it's Luigi,
absolutely.
and we all know Luigi's best boy.
Oh,
Come
he
at me,
is.
nerds.
And there's so much detail packed into each area. There's so many like secrets to find. A lot of it is just money that there's not much to spend it on, but it still kind of feels rewarding seeing a big wad of notes sort of flutter out everywhere and hoovering them up. There's little Easter eggs. So one area, so it's set out into the different floors of the hotel, and one of the floors is a film set, which has like, I think it's the same developer. I think it's got all of their old Mario games like posters for them, and it had like Super Mario Strikers, which I was just like, oh, we need it.
We need a Switch version.
Yep.
Reggie, get your contacts. Just pause now. No, not now. Right, now that you're back and you're going to listen before pausing, get to your contacts. Tell them we need a new Mario Strikers game.
You know what? I'd settle for a port of Super Mario Strikers Charged from the Wii.
I'll be honest with you, I'd settle for a port of the original Super Mario Strikers from the GameCube.
I never played it, but I probably would too.
Oh, it was so much fun. Me and my brother doesn't really do football. Me and my brother used to play that to death against each other. It was so good.
Yep, yep. Um, but back to Luigi's Mansion. There's a little bit of padding here and there. Um, there's 2 or 3 times. I'm right near the end, and I think it's happened twice or 3 times where you get the you get the elevator button to take you to the next floor, so you unlock the next level, and then a ghost cat comes and steals it, and you've got to fight it on that floor. Then it goes down a floor, you've got to fight it on that floor. Then it goes down a floor, and you've got to fight it on that floor. It doesn't add that much to the game. Like you could say it makes everything feel more interconnected and more like a whole living space rather than just separated out into levels, but it's kind of unnecessary.
Yeah,
But
I mean, there's plenty of games out there that have small filler sections like that just to buff out the game a little bit.
yeah, as I say, it
Doesn't
doesn't ruin
detract
it.
from it.
I'd
Yeah,
I'd still say it's probably a 5 out of 5 for me. I love it that much.
nice.
Have you been playing anything
Uh,
else?
yeah. I've been delving back into the ye olde times of Pokemon White 2,
Ooh,
which I know Gen 5 is one of your darlings in your eyes.
absolutely. The best
Because you
art
love the
style
art
of
style.
any generation.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Playing through it, I'm kind of like, you know what? I would be more than happy for them to have stuck with this art style with the 3D battles. Um,
Well, look at how much people love Octopath, right? People
yeah,
love that art style. That's essentially what Gen 5, what Pokemon was building up to Gen 5.
yeah. You know me. I'm a sucker for that sort of art style as well. If if you get thing I love about Octopath Traveler is the lighting engine. You give me a decent lighting engine over the top of 2D graphics, I'm all over it.
Oh yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I went back to White 2 because I completed my Pokedex on Sword and Shield. Ooh, ooh.
nice.
So yeah, the DLC comes out on Wednesday or last Wednesday for those of you that are watching now rather than live, which you can't because we're not live. Um, so yeah, I felt like with the DLC coming and the fact that they're going to be allowing a lot more Pokemon through, I kind of wanted to take that opportunity to bring through the last Pokemon from Diamond that is still on my Diamond copy that I would want in my, you know, most up to date,
Can you just
which
take me
is
through that process?
you know what that process is, right? So essentially, because it's on Diamond, I need to get it to White 2 or White. Um, I've loaded up White, thinking, I completed, I completed White. I should be at a point where I can just transfer it through and then get it across. Nope. Apparently, I decided to restart White at some point. So I went, okay, well, I think I'm further in White 2 than I was in White 1. Got into White 2. Nope, wasn't. So I just thought, stuff it. If I'm going to have to play through either of them, I'll play through White 2 again. Um, and we'll get to that. We'll get to the point because White 2 is. Essentially, the reason why I chose White 2 is because there is a point really early on where you can get a Riolu. So I could
I
just.
knew you were going to say that.
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah.
knew you were
So
going to say that.
you go to Flakessi Ranch, you get a Riolu. First one I caught was a modest Riolu, so I was all over it.
Fantastic.
That is the nature which I want on a Lucario. Most people tend to go for a you know high attack one, but special attack for the win. Um, yeah, so that's why I chose White 2. So I'm progressing through White 2. I've just done the 8th gym. Enjoying it really much so far. I do love the art style. I love the gameplay. I love the little tweaks that they made from Gen 4 to Gen 5 and from White 1 to White 2. Um, Also, I can get a Dark Ray from Gen 4 to get it to my Sword and Shield game because that's the only one which I'm missing. because I was playing against something, and I was just sort of like, you know what? If I had my dark ray, this wouldn't be a problem. And essentially, that was the reason why.
I love
So
it.
I'm putting 30 odd hours into a Pokemon game just so that I can transfer. So the way it works from Diamond, you can do the Poker transfer internally to White 2, where I'd have to catch it at the Pal Park. It's not the Pal Park. The Pal Park's in Gen 4. The Gen 5 is something else.
Is it the Friend Safari?
Might well be, yeah.
Something
It's the
like
one where
that.
they hide behind bushes, and then you got to flick the ball at them with behind the bushes.
Don't talk about
You know,
flicking balls.
quite a of all of the Move My Pokemon mini games, that's probably one of the more entertaining ones. And then once I've got its Black 2, it's a case of I can use the Poké Transporter on my 3DS to get it to Pokemon Bank, and then use Pokemon Bank to get it to Pokemon Home, and then use Pokemon Home to get it to Pokemon Field, and then from Pokemon Field get it to Pokemon Sky, and then from Pokemon Sky I can get it to the Pokemon Cloud, and then from Pokemon Cloud
I know
I can
you.
just fake it a lot
I
so
know
that it
you.
rains Dark Ray down into Pokemon Sword.
I know you're joking now, but remember Pokemon Dreams? Did that ever come out?
Nope. No, that is still to be developed.
Do you think it is gonna come out?
I think it's about as likely to come out as the Wii U attachment for your finger is likely to come out.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at with it.
Yeah.
Especially at this point.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing Pokemon White 2, enjoying it, almost at the point where I can annihilate everything just with Aura Sphere and Dark Pulse. That's really all I need to do.
What do you think about White 2 compared to Sword and Shield then?
It's nice to be playing a Pokemon game where Game Freak obviously care.
That's so
It's
upsetting.
nice to be. It's nice to be playing a Pokemon game where it wasn't obvious that things could be patched in after the fact, and they had to listen to their QA department when they came back and said, you know what, when you're on this screen and you press B, it doesn't do what you expect it to do. I would say probably White 2 is the last really incredibly flawless Pokemon game.
Mm-hmm. I like your careful words there.
I mean,
not the last good Pokemon game because you know
no.
X and Y were good. Sun and Moon I thought were great.
I loved X and Y. I enjoyed Sun and Moon for what they were.
I was the opposite. I enjoyed X and Y for what they were. I loved Sun and Moon.
Yeah, but you finished Sun and Moon and then never went back and did anything else.
That's true. I didn't even finish the Elite Four.
Whereas X and Y, I'm fairly sure you were part of the four of us when we were, all grinding to get squads to wipe each other out, and then I managed to wipe Nick out with one Pokemon that I said I'd never use again.
Yeah. I think that was more a circumstance though, because I think by the time I'd finished Sun and Moon, we were done with uni.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I'd forgotten how nice it was to get lost on a route.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of brought to a head the route design on Sword and Shield is non-existent. It's essentially it's two circles with a big old long line through it, and that's what the route structure is. And there's nothing interesting in any of the cities other than Chichester, which has got a big old bath in the middle. It's just I want to know what happened in between White 2 and Sword and Shield to make them go, well, okay, it's another Pokemon game. It's so have them go on a route.
It's so interesting how they got so much of this right in Red and Blue, and then improved upon it in Gold and Silver in Gen 3, 4, 5, and how they've just regressed.
Yeah, I mean even Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Given that they were remakes, they were still pretty good games. there was definitely an aspect of, okay, yeah, we've made this a hell of a lot easier for you because we're going to give you a Mega Latius halfway through.
Never used it.
Neither did I. I put it in my box and used it for flying only.
Mm-hmm.
But it's disheartening. But on the flip side, it's a game that's 10 years old that I can just go back to and still enjoy this as if it was the first time. So yeah, Pokemon White 2. I have more to talk about if you don't have anything else, but I think you've got another one, haven't you?
I definitely have another one. So you said you were going back to the old days with Pokemon White 2. I went back to 1986 with Dragon Quest, the original Dragon Quest. And I think for me, there's something special about old RPGs. So I didn't realize how old it was. I didn't realize that it was 1986.
Yeah.
And
It was one of the first games out on the NES, wasn't it?
apparently, this is only according to one article I saw, so it might just be completely wrong. But apparently, it was the first turn-based console RPG.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It does sound about right to me, but so I'm playing it on Switch, and the visuals are updated. It's essentially a port of the mobile remake.
Does that mean it's got the weird, awful, touchy controls, or is it?
No. It's the controls are absolutely fine.
You have to flip your Switch sideways so that you can.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to hold it like a tablet, like that, and sort of. No, it's 16:9 widescreen, which is always appreciated when it runs natively in widescreen like that without stretching or anything. The art style's good. I'm just looking at a picture of it now, and it's fun. It's bold. It's colourful. You can clearly tell like what everything is, where everything is. The writing's kind of hilarious. It sounds like it sounds very like they're trying to be really Shakespearean. Like, wilt thou rescue Princess Gwaelin? and even when like you look in a drawer and you find something, because I've obviously called myself Verge, and it was like Verge's pockets find this great. Yeah, it's something ridiculous when you find an item like that. But I really love how stripped down the game is. How much of it is just right. You're a warrior. There's a princess that needs saving. There's 3 relics you need to collect, and there's a dragon lord that needs defeating. Go, and it's like there's a town here, and you sort of. It's one of those where you actually have to talk to people to know what's going on. And it's like I was trying to find the next place to go, and I crossed a bridge, and I just got my ass handed to me by all the monsters in that area. And
See, I miss that. I miss a world where I can go into somewhere and realize, oh, I am so not ready for this area. I need to go and grind for a bit.
Well, I thought to myself, do I need to go and grind for a bit? Is that what it is? And then I went to a town, and someone said to me, don't go across a bridge unless you're ready. And it's like, oh, right. If I'd have stayed in this area, then I would have known that. But it's really forgiving as well. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting if I died without saving to just lose everything. But I died without saving, and I got kicked back to the castle. I lost. You lose half your gold, and that's it. You keep your level. And it just says, do you want to save?
Yeah, I do wonder if that's a side effect of the fact that, of course, the Japanese release didn't have save states. Japanese
Maybe.
release was password only. So if you were to save, you would be given. It wasn't a case of saving; it was a case of you had a password, and you'd have to go back and put the password in. It wasn't until it was released in North America that there was a battery backup inside the cartridge itself. So yeah, that'll probably be because of that. Because you don't want to kill somebody off and then have them lose everything that they've just done.
No, but I did expect that, to be honest. I think it was Final Fantasy III for the DS where I died, and I was set back so much that I was just like, like little 13-year-old me playing that on my DS. I was just like, oh, I can't be doing with
Yeah,
this.
Final Fantasy 3 hasn't got decent pacing. There is quite often a very long distance between save spots.
Yeah.
It's not like, modern day RPGs where either it auto saves or, you've got save spots every 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, even up to something like Final Fantasy X, there's still parts of Final Fantasy X where there is not a save spot for good ages, and if you mess up, you could be set back a good hour.
Mm-hmm. And that's just not. It's just not fun, is it?
It depends.
For me, it's one thing having consequences for failure. It's another thing having to literally repeat the past hour of gameplay.
Yeah, the one which they've actually fixed on the remaster, which always got me, although it only happened to me the once because I managed to beat the boss on the second time. In Final Fantasy X was when you fought Unalesca in Zanarkand, which I'm aware that I am talking this and you are just not aware of where
Do
I'm talking
not
about.
have a clue.
But there is a full 10-minute cutscene that starts that fight off, and if you lose, you have to sit through that entire 10-minute cutscene again, and that is just not.
No.
But luckily in the remaster, they've changed that so you can actually skip cutscenes, which is great. But in the original, it wasn't that fun. But again, in my original playthrough, I only lost to her the first time, and then once I'd done that, I was just like, oh, okay, I know how this boss plays. I don't want to have Riku out. I want to have my big hitters.
But if somebody's like not quite as good at the game,
yeah, there were definitely a lot of people, at least when the remaster came out, that were quite glad that the Unalesca fight had that skip cutscene button. And some of my friends, when I was growing up, were like, "Yeah, I never got past that fight because I just got fed up with replaying that cutscene over and over and over again." And I was just there like, "Well, just get good.
just get good.
Just get good."
I think in Dark Souls, I might be wrong on this, but I think if there's a cutscene before a boss, it plays once.
Yes, that's very.
Which is kind of different because death is like failure is sort of, and death is built into that game and into that universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It is a fail state, but it's not. It's not as hard baked in a fail state, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, the entire premise and concept of Dark Souls is the fact that if you die, you're not really dead. So why would you see that cutscene again? Because you'd already know it was there.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's that. Back to Dragon Quest. I'm really enjoying it so far. A lot more than I thought I would. I thought it'd feel a lot more dated than it is, and it just doesn't.
Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Are you planning on progressing through 2, 3, 4, whatever?
Yeah, well, 1 to 3 are on Switch, so I'm planning on progressing through those. I'm planning on making a video at least about number 1, probably about the series. Probably write some articles on it, but yeah, I'm enjoying taking a little dive into the series.
Learning your history.
Learning my history, that's it.
Yep.
Have you got anything else you've been playing?
Yeah, so I dropped you a message earlier this week about this game. Came out on Wednesday, I think. So it's a 2D platformer called Evans Remains. I'm only about an hour into it, but I am already sold on the game. I mean, it's £5.60 on the Switch store, so if you've got a spare £6 around, spend it on that, and then spend the next 40p on cocaine because you're gonna need it. It's a 2D platformer where the platforming is loosely related to the story. you can only jump on platforms once before they disappear, and that's sort of part of the puzzle mechanic. And then there's the story, and the story so far, and I know I'm only just getting into it, but it's trippy. There is something going on, and it is weird. Because you've got the main story which is happening on the island which you're on, and then there's a different side story that's happening in sort of, I'm assuming they're flashbacks, but they're like flickery flashbacks. And then you've got two characters, and one of them is there looking for an artifact to save his sister, and his sister just so happens to have the same name as the main character that you play, but she hasn't told him her real name, and also she doesn't have a brother. But
Okay.
also there's some weird stuff going on, and there's portals and teleports, and the art style is lovely, the gameplay is tight, and it's everything I could want from a weird story based platforming title.
Mm-hmm. Puzzle platformer.
Puzzle platformer, and I can't wait to see what's going on in this story, because I have no idea what's going on, and it's brilliant, and it's weird and odd and beautiful, and the soundtrack is fantastic. And yeah, that's after an hour.
I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it, because you were excited for it. You showed me the trailer, and you were.
It just appeared on Steam. I was just doing my daily thing of going through Steam, seeing what the top sellers are. Oh, spoiler alert! It's all EA titles.
Mm-hmm.
And then the popular upcoming, and it was just right on the popular upcoming, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. Click, watch the first few seconds of the trailer. Oh, okay, send that to you. So it's out on Steam, it's out on Switch. I believe it's also out on PS4 and Xbone, but I can't say for 100%. I will double check that.
While you're double checking, how difficult is it so far?
There have been two puzzles where I've struggled on them.
And is the puzzle difficult, or is the platforming difficult?
The puzzle is difficult. And then once I found the solution, I was like, oh, damn, I can't believe I took that long on that. Because I was doing 3/4 of what I was supposed to do, and it was just the last bit where I was like, well, I need to get it to do this. And it was like, well, yeah, but if you just do that, then it works. And it's like, oh, yeah. So, yeah, it is out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Yeah, no, it's the puzzles that are the problem. But if you do get stuck on a puzzle and you can't move on, then there is the option to skip the puzzle as well. So if you're in there just for the story and you're getting really frustrated by this puzzle, there's a little thing that pops up in the right-hand corner that says, hey, hit the pause menu. And you hit the pause menu, and then it's like, hey, look, you can skip the puzzle here.
I'm always backwards and forwards on things like that. Like, I think the essence of video games is the challenge.
It's a very, and when I say very, I mean very story-driven game.
Yeah, I know.
Like, over the course of an hour, I've done 18 puzzles, and then there's a lot of exposition in between those, and I think that's just because I'm at the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the puzzles themselves are related to the story as well. And then there's so it's a 2D platformer, and there's an ocean in front of most of the puzzles, and then there's obviously a way around it. And one of the characters at one point goes, you could just go around those rather than just doing them. And the main character's like, yeah, I know, but I'm enjoying it, so why not?
Okay.
Yeah, so there's that little meta aspect as well of, well, you could just swim around it. Why do I have to?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have to do this puzzle? And I imagine if you say skip puzzle, they do just walk around. I don't know what happens, but But yeah, for £6, well worth it. Pick it up on whatever platform you want to pick it up on. Support indie devs. and tell them we sent you. Yes, once I've completed it, I probably will tweet at the developer and just be like, "Hey, can I just say, spot on." That's unless the story goes in a really dark direction, which it might do. And if it's a good dark direction, then that's fine.
I was going to say, there's nothing wrong with a dark direction.
Oh no! There's already talks of underground labs and stuff, and it's like, okay.
Should we take a quick break and then get on with the news?
Yeah, we can do, yeah.
Yeah. We'll be right back after a message from our sponsors. Dan, we have no sponsors.
One moment. Let me find something. Here we go. Today's show is sponsored by Hobbycraft Craft PVA glue. Use it to stick all of the things to all of the other things. It is water-based, high-quality PVA adhesive. Do not feed it to your children. Do not let anybody eat it. And if at all possible, buy organic.
We'll see you in a minute. And we're back. What's that shaking your head for?
Because I said, "Want to count down?" and you immediately went, "And we're back!" And it's like, thanks for giving me a little bit of warning.
Apologies. I didn't realise I'd unpaused. So, we're going to be discussing the news. Do you want to start off?
Okay, yeah. So first things first, I think this happened within like an hour of us finishing the last episode. Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. So a remaster of Kingdoms of Amalur, which is a third-person RPG. Probably one of the most well-known RPGs because they invested so much time and effort into creating this deep world and all this lore, and then it completely flopped, and the development studio went under. But they are re-releasing it on PS4, Xbone, and PC. It's coming in August. It was originally leaked on the Microsoft Store, and then probably announced about 2 hours later. There's one thing which I was going to mention with this is the fact that it's releasing on PS4 and Xbox One rather than waiting for the next gen consoles. And I suppose this is probably due to the fact that a lot of people will buy it on current gen consoles, and also it'll run anyway on new gen consoles. My hope for it, as we usually say for remasters, is that it becomes the definitive version. Yeah. I hope they take this time to fix the bugs that were present in the original version, as well as pushing it to the next level graphically. If it does that, then it's well worth a purchase. Yeah, I've really enjoyed the original or the game when it first came out, and didn't really get very far in it just because there were a couple of bugs that were irritating. But yeah, so that's been announced.
I highlighted an article about Phil Spencer discussing the Xbox Series X launch, and I did want to read this quote. It's quite a long one, but I thought it was interesting to read it in full because it really.
Just to clarify, it's an interview with Phil Spencer on the BBC.
Yeah.
So.
That's right. So Phil Spencer said, "If this is not the year when a family wants to make a decision to buy a new Xbox, that's okay. Our strategy does not revolve around how many Xboxes I sell this year. We're focused on delivering services through Xbox Game Pass, which also allows people to build their library for a monthly fee. Backwards compatibility means that the console that they have will play thousands and thousands of games. Smart delivery means when they move to the next generation, the games will move with them." So that's just...
I love Spencer.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just indicative of their whole attitude with this with the Xbox going forward, not just with the Xbox Series X. So they're moving away from a generational approach, it looks like.
Yes, quite probably.
They're moving away from having to sell consoles, and they're moving into having everything be subscription based.
Yeah, I mean, consoles have always traditionally been sold at a loss anyway, and everyone's always known that it's the games that get the sales
Mm-hmm.
and get the profits. So this sort of attitude doesn't really surprise me, and it's kind of in it. I do wonder how much of this would have been said had the current world situation not been what it was. But it's certainly just
It's definitely a response to that, but it's also I doubt they'd have changed to this direction if the Xbox One was like the winner, quote unquote, of this generation. Um, the Xbox 360 was clearly ahead of the PS3. The PS4 has been ahead of the Xbox One in terms of sales.
yeah, and I mean it's just it also leans into their broader strategy if they just want people to play good games,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, you've got you know they've announced, and we've mentioned it a number of times before, that all of their games that they develop and publish will be available on PC. Uh, so they're not about selling games, not about selling consoles.
No.
Consoles are secondary to that. If you want to buy a new console to play the games, go for it. If you want to play them on your PC, go for it. If you don't want any of that and you just want an extensive back catalog that's filled with hundreds of AAA titles, you can't play all of the games that have been released on Xbox One that have got a Metacritic rating of 80 or more in your lifetime,
No.
start to finish. Not a chance.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that he said it. I'm glad that, I mean, the rest of the interview is definitely well worth a read. Um,
We'll link
but yeah,
that down in the description if I remember.
yes, we will put that in the doobity doo down below. Um,
I just think it's interesting because it really marks, and they've been going this way for a while, and it's been no secret, but it really marks the fact that Xbox is now a platform and not a console. And I think that's an important distinction to make when it comes to what it means for sort of Xbox versus PlayStation. Because,
saying that, I'll go into this in more detail when we talk about the PS5 event. There are indications that Sony are going that direction as well, which is only good for the consumer. This whole platform exclusivity thing, it only hurts the consumer. And you know, this week, just this week, uh, there's been an announcement that the most recent Need for Speed is going crossplay.
mm-hmm.
Uh, there was an announcement yesterday at PC Gaming Show that a couple of other titles were going crossplay.
No Man's
And
Sky, I believe.
No Man's Sky this week went crossplay. Yeah,
Which was that
which by the way,
originally PS4 exclusive? PS4 and
that
PC.
was that was originally PS4 and PC. Yeah, and honestly, if you haven't picked up No Man's Sky, it's in such a better place than it used to be. Um, Same is could be said for what's the big old ship game? Rare's Sea of Solitude? No,
I really don't
Sea
know.
of Thieves. Sea of
Sea
Thieves.
of Thieves, sorry, right.
Yeah, apparently that is in much better place than it was 2 years ago when it released. So yeah, I mean, the more people push towards this, we want you to play good games. We don't care where you play them. The better it is for the consumers, and the better it is in the end for the developers, because you put a game on more platforms, you're going to have more sales. It just makes sense.
I think we're going to have to have a big discussion about this. I think this is going to have to be a talking point in a future episode, to be honest, because I think we've got a lot more to say on just that, just exclusivity.
Yeah, I mean, I've got more to say this episode, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
We'll get to it when we get to it. The last thing I had before we get into the more sort of show-based, event-based reveals, I suppose, was
Be
the
surprised verify this because I snuck in a PC gaming show heading into the planning document in the first half of the show.
You did.
May as well group it all together.
We may as well. But before that, so Nintendo did a whole 5 minute long Paper Mario: The Origami King sort of overview trailer. Did you see it?
I did not know because I wasn't aware this was a thing until I started recording.
Well,
we are really good at this.
We are, as I say, we're professionals. There's a reason that Reggie tunes in week after week.
Yep. So there was a gameplay demo, you're saying, and they went on a deep dive as to what to expect from the Origami King.
Yeah, there was a 5 minute long overview trailer, and it showed off some things like the partner characters are actually partner characters with personality. The Bob-omb isn't just called Bob-omb, it's called Bobby, which it's a little thing, but it sort of it just adds to the whole Paper Mario vibe. There's not just a load of toads called Toad anymore.
Gives it more personality.
Gives it a lot more personality. Yeah.
Though, to be fair, if there was one game that didn't need more personality, it's probably Paper Mario.
Yeah, maybe. Although a lot of people have been saying that the personality has been stripped out of it in Sticker Star and Colour Splash. So it's nice to see them adding it back in a bit. People have been saying it looks like they're only kind of making half steps towards it. So one of the big issues with Colour Splash and Sticker Star was that your normal attacks were consumable, and so there was literally no point getting. Oh, your normal attacks were consumable, and there was no XP, so there was almost literally no point getting into any just of the normal battles in the world, because you'd waste your attacks that are finite, and you wouldn't get anything other than just those attacks back for defeating them. They've kind of gone halfway back on this. So your normal boots and hammer aren't consumable, it looks like. But, and you'll love this, weapons are breakable.
Oh, so it's Paper Mario Breath of the Wild. I understand.
No, it's Paper Mario New Horizons. But isn't it strange that now 3 of the big main series have gone for the breakable weapons tools route?
I mean, no, for Breath of the Wild and Animal Crossing, but I'm assuming that Paper Mario is going to be an RPG. Although there are breakable things in RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not surprising. I
think it's interesting that so many of the games are going that way.
Yeah, it definitely adds more depth to the games, makes things more decision based. What is it I'm thinking of? Fire Emblem's got destructible,
breakable weapons. Yeah.
You see, that's where my mind went. It was I remember having a real strategic thought process about whether or not I used one item and hit somebody once and it broke, or whether I waited and used that on somebody that was, more important.
Mm-hmm.
And, it adds an extra layer of strategy into an RPG, which is, not a bad thing.
No, I agree. They also showed off some of the main bosses of the title. They showed off 3 of the 5 main big bosses, which is weird. But they're all based on stationery. So they're doing that again.
Nice.
Some people aren't happy with it.
One of them's a laminator.
Well, one of them's some coloured pencils. That almost like a box of coloured pencils that almost looks like teeth, like it's stacking around like that. Another one. Can you remember that weird, horrifying looking puppet thing that was shown in the last trailer? Just for a brief, yeah. That's I don't know what its name is going to be, but that's made of rubber bands.
Lovely.
And the third one they showed was sellotape. Just a roll of tape. and it showed him like picking up Paper Mario and swinging him about and slamming him
I
on the
wonder
ground.
if the way you end that boss is get him to run out of tape.
Maybe.
So he just ends up being a cardboard tube.
Well, the thing is, you know, the ring-based battle system that we saw.
Yes.
Do you not like it?
I'm waiting for you to say what I know you're going to say.
What?
Does the sellotape go around it? Does he go
No,
around the ring?
no.
Oh,
It's just for bosses in general. So it's flipped, so that instead of Mario being in the middle and having to rotate the enemies around and fight the enemies, Mario's
clever.
on the edge. The boss is in the middle, and then you rotate to build a path towards the boss to fight them.
Clever. I like that.
And I think there are like power ups along the way. It looks good. It looks fun. It looks like a move away from. So the thing that people didn't like about Colour Splash and Stick Star in particular was that you had to have a particular thing, and they were called things with a capital T, because they were real life objects, and you had to have a particular one of them to defeat a particular boss. It looks like they're moving away from that. The things this time around are the bosses themselves, which I think is a good direction to take it if they want to keep the real life objects in. And people don't seem happy with that. People on Reddit, people on Twitter, but
People aren't happy about many things. Just wait until the game comes out, then you'll see what actually happens.
yeah, I think it looks charming. I think it looks fun, and I think
People originally hated Wind Waker, and now it's one of the most revered Zelda games of all time.
That's true.
So,
but I think it looks fun. I think it looks great. I'm looking forward to picking it up.
yeah, definitely. So, moving on. Yesterday, for a period of probably 2.5 hours, was the yearly gaming show. Without E3, they pushed it to a Saturday, and because of all the bollocks going on with health and safety and all that jazz, it looks like essentially what they did is lock Day 9 in a room with a green screen and a chair and several changes of clothing, and just said, "Hey, here's what you need to talk about. Go mad." Which wasn't a bad thing, because the more time I can get alone with Day 9 in a green screen wearing different pairs of clothes, probably the better.
Who is Day 9?
Day 9 is an internet personality who sort of used to be a StarCraft Brood War pro player, then moved into casting StarCraft 2 and Brood War, and now mostly plays card games on his YouTube channel, and occasionally jumps back in and says, "Hey StarCraft guys, you missed me," casts 2 games and then runs away again for another 5 years. And he has one of the most infectious laughs on the internet.
Sounds like a good career.
And he will encourage you to be a better gamer.
Oh.
But yeah, he's a great host, and he's been doing the PC gaming show for the last 5 years now. So obviously him doing it this year, not a surprise. And it was as entertaining as it usually is, and also as cheesy as it usually is. Which, is all good.
All good. All fun and games.
Indeed. Just a few things we've pulled out from the PC gaming show. I know you mentioned that a couple of them have been announced outside of that, but just essentially what I thought was the highlights of the show, outside of the standard Fortnite and what's the other one? Escape from Tarkov and the first one was one which you'd already put on here, and then I messaged you going, "Hey, do you fancy playing a game that is a combination of Doom and Crypt of the Necrodancer?"
And I replied, "It's on the plan."
It's already on the plan, you idiot. Yeah, so it's a first-person shooter where you get more points for shooting in time with the beat of the metal music. And I watched it and I was like, no, I want this. I
It
want this
looks
now.
it looks great, doesn't it? And has it got vocal performances from
Oh,
Trivium?
it's essentially a supergroup band
Mm-hmm.
made up with the vocal guy from Trivium and a number of other people that I can't remember. All I remember is seeing Trivium and being like, oh, okay.
Is that how you pronounce it? Trivium?
I have no idea. They're not a band that I listen to.
I've always pronounced it Trivium.
It could be anything.
Could be.
Honestly, the pronunciation of it is trivial.
Or is it trivial?
So that game is called Metal Hellsinger. Looks really, really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing which I pulled out from the PC Gaming Show is a game called The Dungeon of Nahualbuech, but known, when it was announced, Felicia Day was announcing it, so it was just called The Amulet of Chaos. Essentially, what this is essentially a tabletop RPG party where everyone is bad at everything. But apparently, if they're all bad at everything, then they're too stupid to be able to fail. And that's the concept. Fully voice acted by a number of internet personalities. Apparently, they all have loose skills. I don't know. I watched the trailer, I watched the announcement, and I watched the trailer, and I just looked at it and thought, no, this is my jam. This is something which I will play the hell out of.
I was gonna say, is it a game? I don't understand. Like,
Yeah. Oh no. It's an RPG. It's I would say it's either turn-based or Diablo-like, where you have a party of 6, and yeah, stuff happens. The trailer which I saw was essentially the group interacting with a goblin, and you know, it was amusing. I
comedy
don't know.
RPGs are always great, aren't they? I think
Yeah,
if they're done
it
well.
looks very silly. It looks very well produced, and the fact that they've got some of these voice actors that are generally in the best games, it looks great. Uh, and the final one, which is the big reveal that everybody's been waiting for. Finally, a mainline Persona game is going to be on something that isn't a PlayStation console.
Persona
With
4 Golden.
Persona 4 Golden is now available on Steam. It was shadow dropped because apparently that's how we do things now.
I didn't realize it was now available.
Yeah, they announced it and went, oh, by the way, it's now on Steam.
Oh, I might have to get that. I've never played a Persona game.
Yeah, I've played through a good 20 odd hours of Persona 4, so I'm like on day 2 and I've barely scratched the surface. Traditionally, Persona games are games that you're going to spend an awful lot of time in. But it's a good game, and there's a reason why Persona 4 Golden has been released on 417 different consoles across time and space. I'm a little bit disappointed that it's not Persona 5, but with Persona 5 Royal having just come out, I can understand why not. And that was the big reveal of the PC Gaming Show, and that was pretty much one of the first things announced in the damn thing. So everything after that was sort of secondary to that.
I think
So
that's
yeah,
it for our PC Gaming Show coverage.
yeah. What we've learned is Day 9 is good, Doom is better if you add music, and silly RPGs are silly.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the PS5 conference.
Yes. So
We both essentially watched this together, didn't we?
yeah, I think I was about a minute and a half ahead of you, so I kept on spoiling things for you.
That happened with Animal Crossing in one of Nintendo's conferences last year. When I was like, oh, I really hope we see Animal Crossing. And then on my phone, I just saw, it's here. And I was about 30 seconds away from it. And I was like, no.
Well, you know what they say, get good. Internet. So the PS5 reveal event, there was an awful lot of
There was an awful lot.
3D rendered logos and all that jazz, and then they went ahead and announced 26 games. I say announced; they showed 26 games, which is a substantial number of games. And essentially, it was just like they would have done at an E3 conference, which makes it all the more understandable why they didn't bother with an E3 conference this year. Not that they'd have been able to anyway.
Yeah.
Honestly, it started out rather underwhelming.
Well, let's just talk about that. So let's go one by one with the announcements and see what we think. So Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
My initial thought was, oh, who asked for this? Who's excited for this?
My initial thought was, ooh, Rockstar title.
Oh yeah,
and then it was, oh no, that's Michael doing yoga again. No, thank you.
Yeah, but I think GTA 5 still sells amazingly, so people are still asking for this.
It doesn't. No, I mean they gave it away free on the Epic Games Store last month, so anybody that doesn't have it should have it. Anybody that doesn't have it obviously doesn't want it. It's going to be free for PlayStation 5 owners, and I believe that's if they've got it on the PlayStation 4.
No, GTA Online is free for PlayStation 5 owners for the first however many months. It's free forever, as long as they log in within the first however many months.
Okay.
I genuinely think that could be a huge selling point for Sony for the PS5, and a good way for Rockstar to make money from the new install base. Like, I'm not saying that.
I'm sorry, but Rockstar, it's Take-Two saying, "Hey, we'll put this on this console to get more money." Oh no, people on PlayStation 4 are no longer going to be buying shark cards. How can we fix that? Oh, I know, a minor graphical update so that it plays 4K 30 FPS rather than 1080p 30 FPS.
And I'm not denying that, but even though this isn't for us, as I say, people still play GTA Online. People still love GTA Online, and there will be people who don't own a PS4 who might be wanting a PS5, and will say, "I'm getting Grand Theft Auto Online for free with this."
True, very true.
Sony will be able to say, Sony will be able to market that. Sony will be able to say, Grand Theft Auto Online free. People will come to the PlayStation for that. Take-Two will earn the money from the people now playing Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm not saying I'm excited for it. I'm saying it's a great business decision.
It's an obvious business decision.
Yeah.
But the key thing to take away from that is that it's not going to be available until the middle of 2021 anyway. So what the hell's going on there? Why not just have it as a release title?
Is GTA Online not?
It's not available until middle of 2021. It said summer 2021.
That's interesting.
Yep. So
for some reason, I thought that was the enhanced, expanded port of GTA 5.
Nope. It's everything.
Okay. Right. Weird.
Yep.
Weird. I'd have thought they'd wanted that out by launch if they were giving it away for free. Oh well. Next on the list, Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one because it's been announced as Spider-Man Miles Morales, and then somebody came out and said, "Oh no, this is just the original game with the Miles Morales DLC bundled in." Mm-hmm. And then somebody said, "Oh no, it's the original game with the Miles Morales but DLC bundled in, and then some bonus content as well." And then yesterday, Insomniac came out and went, "No, it's a brand new game."
Yep, it's a standalone title. They've said it's a standalone title, and I think it's a standalone title in the same vein as Uncharted Lost Legacy, in that it's not a full game. It is a full game. It's not a full $60, £50 experience. It's a smaller side title.
you can guarantee it will be that price.
I don't think so. I think with what they're saying, it's not.
If they bundled in the original Spider-Man with this, then yeah,
That's
I think it's still gonna be a full-on $60 title, but I'm not sure that I care that it
that's
is, because essentially it's going to be, hey, you can play Spider-Man in New York with Miles Morales. With, okay, fair enough. There's a new story, but you've got the whole of New York to go away and do whatever the hell you want with.
yeah.
I don't mind that.
I don't know. I don't know what they plan on doing with it, because they've not announced what they plan on doing with it. They've said that it is a standalone title. As I say, I'm pretty sure they've said it's on par with like The Lost Legacy, that sort of thing, which wasn't a full price title.
No, it wasn't.
I think they sell it as that for fairly cheaper, like £20, £30, something along.
I will be incredibly surprised, given that it's a holiday 2020 release,
Well,
if that isn't a special edition bundle, PS5 bundle with Spider-Man, and that's how they release it.
yeah, I can see that, but I can also see them. I can see them releasing it standalone. I can see them releasing it alongside a port of just Spider-Man 2018. But I think it's the right move for the franchise. They've not just re-released Spider-Man 2018. They're not rushing to get Spider-Man 2 done. That's going to be able to breathe, and that's going to be able to be its own thing. And it'll hopefully be ready in time for launch, if not the launch window.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, whatever it is, I'm happy with it. I mean, I'm not going to buy a PS5 anyway, but
I think I am.
You know, I'm happy that there's more Spider-Man content, because the more Spider-Man content, the better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Agreed. Moving on to Gran Turismo 7, that was there.
Yeah. It's not a PlayStation event without Gran Turismo, is it?
No.
Cool. Right. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Rift Apart. Oh, I love it. So they're definitely trying to showcase the sort of fast on the fly loading that they've been banging on about, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like with the jump in between dimensions, everything loading on the fly.
I mean, that was very Bioshock Infinite, though.
Yeah, I've not played Bioshock Infinite, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, but it's all pre-rendered and expected.
It wasn't.
You know that. No. It's. I mean, in the pipeline, in the graphical pipeline,
right.
rather than it being a pre-rendered demo. I mean, it's something in the game knows that that's going to happen, so it's there in memory, ready to be used.
Yeah.
You know, that whole sequence where they were going through the different portals and different zones, and it was just loading on the fly. Great, but at the end of the day, it looks impressive, but it's not as impressive as they would have you believe, because there's a lot of shortcuts you can do around that, especially if it's linear. Now, the thing will come as to whether or not this sort of thing is a linear concept, or whether or not they allow you to just do it on the fly, wherever.
So they sort of showed that weapon that did let you sort of jump forward, and it wasn't quite jumping into new worlds like the initial part of the trailer was, but it was
sort of a reverse Dishonored jump, if you know what I mean.
What's the Dishonored jump? I've not
you
played.
know the Dishonored jump, where essentially you just bolt forward really, really quickly.
Oh right, yeah,
and you sort of move like smoke. It was the reverse of that, where the world around you moves really, really quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it looked good. It looked pretty. The stream which I was watching, it sort of pixeled up, but that's just a hazard of streaming.
Yeah, mine too. I rewatched most of these trailers in HD.
Yeah.
Like,
so, you know, it's a good looking game. It's another Ratchet and Clank game.
For me,
with a female Ratchet.
Yeah. Yeah. So with the dimension hopping, this is what I wanted to say. I wonder if the story is going to get meta, because obviously they had the remake of the original, but the original timeline is still going, I think. So I wonder where.
I mean, I can't see it going incredibly meta, but if it does, then I'm happy.
I
I'd
can
I
I
I'd
can
love
see it
games to
having
go meta.
I can see it having meta moments. I definitely can. As I say, it's an interesting gimmick. The whole dimension hopping. I just hope they can make a full game out of it. I don't want it to be interesting for the first hour and then just, oh yeah, this is happening. It's like Portal. Portal and Portal 2 are special for a reason, and it's because they take the gimmick and they just find new and interesting ways to use it throughout the experience. I hope Ratchet and Clank does that.
Yeah, definitely. And that has a release date of to be announced. So it's not as if it's something where they've got to rush it.
Yeah.
It looks like it's in a fairly solid place already, but that could just be that one level that they've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
I think they mentioned it was alpha gameplay, so.
I think it
But
all
yeah,
is really.
it looks good. It's at the point where there's voice acting, so that's always a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The one
but
thing,
yeah,
the one thing I do miss, and I don't think they'll ever go back to this, is the sort of snarkiness and edginess of the original trilogy. I think Ratchet and Clank have just gotten softer and softer as time's gone on.
yeah, but
That's fine, but
That's because people see Ratchet and Clank as the kids' introduction to PlayStation. Yep.
yeah.
Next up was Square Enix tech demo, Project Athia. It looked very, very pretty. It looked odd and weird and like weirdo jumping through the world. My opinion on this is it could be Project Octopath and a decent launch window title that actually ends up being. Square Enix always have these titles on console releases. These built exclusively on X hardware. And, sometimes they turn out to be great, like Project Octopath turned into Octopath Traveler. And sometimes they just disappear off the face of the earth, like Agnes Philosophy, which admittedly was a tech demo, but it was never seen again. And they have done these things before. So I get the feeling that this is something that in 10 years' time somebody will mention and be like, "Oh yeah, that was a thing."
Maybe, but it looked like they had a lot. Even though they didn't show all that much, it looked like they had. What they did show, they had different areas and different designs and different. It could be further along than we think.
Yeah, like I say, it could be a decent launch window title, or further down the line. But there's no release date for it, and it's a Square Enix title, so roll the dice, and there you go. That's the odds of it ever seeing the light of day.
Mm-hmm. Next, we had Stray. I'm not sure if this is confirmed, but if you do play as the cat, I'm in.
So my notes, I've said it's very pretty, it's very dark and artsy, and I do believe you play as the cat in a post-human world. So it's a world where humanity has become extinct, and all these robots doing strangely human things. And then there's just a cat with a backpack just walking around this world. And if I get to be a cat with a backpack running around this world, I'm going to be more than happy.
Yeah, me too. I wonder.
PC.
I wonder what the sort of conflict is going to be. I wonder what the game. I'm interested. It's got me. The world looks cool.
The world looks gorgeous. It looks well thought out.
It does. It looks really well thought out.
That's coming in 2021.
Next, we had Returnal. I'll let you talk about this because
you haven't put a star next to it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So Returnal is a weird Groundhog Day type alien thing that's a third-person shooter that, again, looks very pretty, but it also looks trippy as all hell. It's definitely one of these more psychological-based games, and that's one of the things which this event, definitely is leaning into the weird. Right at the very top of my notes, I've got Sony thing, leaning into the weird, and it is. There are. I'm glad that most of these are new IPs, and not only are they new IPs, they are high quality, batshit insane.
I think one of the things we mentioned last time, I think I said something along the lines of it in an industry that like sometimes almost seems like obsessed with sequels. I'm all for new IP, and that's what this is. Great for me. Time looping is a little bit overdone sometimes.
15 new IPs.
15 new. That's wow.
Yeah, 15 new intellectual properties.
Wow.
Yeah.
God.
Of the 26.
So the majority. But that's only a good thing. But for me, nothing was shown that really piqued my interest. It other than the sort of weird trippiness of it, it then just looked like a third-person shooter to me.
Okay, the Groundhog Day thing, or I suppose it's going to end up being a roguelite. Probably.
Yeah, because because she keeps dying and it keeps repeating the same thing but different. Yeah.
Yep. Next up, that was a to be confirmed release date as well.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we've got Little Big Planet Odyssey.
Little Big Planet 3D World, you mean?
Yeah, it probably is more that. So, Sackboy: A Big Adventure. It's a Little Big Planet platformer with 4-player co-op that looks like they've taken Mario and put Sackboy over the top.
I expected this to be the only 3D platformer of the conference, but we'll get to that. But this is definitely the release date's to be announced, but I can see it coming this holiday, this Christmas.
I think it will be out before the end of the year, but by that I mean the end of the financial year. I reckon it's Q4 2020, so it'll be out by March.
Really, I kind of feel like they'll be wanting to like move consoles for kids with this.
Possibly.
Like
yeah, I get that, but I think if it were coming in the holidays, they would have said 2020 or at least 2021. I don't know. It's because there was no release date on it. Who knows?
My gut is just that this is this generation's knack for Sony.
You said that instantly as well.
Oh yeah, I did. I was messaging you, wasn't I? But I feel like it's Sony's way of selling consoles to kids.
Yeah, but the real disappointment is that it's not Little Big Planet 4. This is it looks to be a 3D platformer just built as a 3D platformer, not a Little Big Planet where you can create your own stuff, which seems like they're shooting themselves in the foot.
You could argue that Dreams is Little Big Planet 4.
Yeah, this isn't developed by Media Molecule either, is it?
No, it's Sumo Digital.
Yeah. Next up, we had a Destruction All Stars, which piqued my interest originally because it looks like Did you ever play Destruction Derby on the PlayStation 1?
I played it on PC, I think.
Okay. Loved that game. And then it went very much into this whole alt culture, hipster, R&B, very bright, very colourful, very edgelordy.
I've got down Destruction Derby, but loud and obnoxious.
That is it. That is essentially it is.
The one thing that piqued my interest was they showed the characters outside of the cars, I believe.
Yeah, but they do that in Need for Speed. That's probably all just cutscenes.
No, I'm sure they showed some in gameplay. They definitely showed like characters at least nearly falling out of the cars in the gameplay, if not running around the sort of arena, which could add an interesting layer to it if that is the case.
Possibly, but does that not lean into being sort of like a too structured Grand Theft Auto?
Maybe.
It's not. It'll probably be entertaining, and you can guarantee that everybody will be streaming it on Twitch when it comes to it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a
It
2021 release, and
it looks fine. The next game on the list.
Okay.
Yeah, look, it was there, but the next game on the list, Kyna Bridge of Spirits. Oh my god!
How cute was that game?
Oh
my
my
thought process was, twins, because it's developed by the lead developers are twins.
Oh, I've never played Twins.
No, the lead developer is the lead developers. They are two brothers who are twins.
Oh right, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so there was the two of them just there going, "Hey, we want to introduce our new game," and then it went into, "Oh look, there's chibi twins as well," and then it was all super cute. And then my next thought was, "Oh shit, something's gonna horribly die."
Yep, absolutely. It looks like you sort of. So my my first line of notes is just, I keep watching the trailer over and over again. I just think it's so beautiful. It looks like you're sort of fighting against these spirits that have been corrupted in some way, and then when you free them, they turn into those little fluff balls that you see.
Yeah, the main character seems to be some sort of magical monkey. By monkey, I mean monk, not monkey as in
Yeah.
Monk with a bow, but the bow can become a bow, like a bow.
Yeah.
So work that out.
Like a spear slash bow sort of combo.
Yeah. It's a weird actiony platformer with fluffy black things. Sort of Zelda meets Pikmin is my last note on this.
I love the aesthetic in the world. It looks bright and colourful. The character design's on point. It looks like there are towns. She was definitely sort of exploring a town in one of the in one part of the trailer, like towards the end, I think.
Coming out on PC.
Oh, fantastic!
Sorry, I've just googled it because I wanted the voiceover sounds very much like Ken Wanatabe.
Okay, but as I say, it looks like there are towns, and so I wonder if that's just the one hub that you go back to, and then you branch out and explore the world from there. I wonder if there's a whole world to explore. I don't know. Either way, it looks like a day one purchase to me right now.
Honestly, yeah, it's going to be one of those where I probably look at a review and realise that it got more than 4, so I'm having it.
Yeah.
I love the art style, I love the world, I love the, just everything about it just screamed at me. You want to buy this game.
Yeah.
It says to be announced. There was no release date on the trailer, so I've got to be announced here, but after a cursory Google, sounds like it's coming out before the end of the year. So I imagine that's going to be a launch title for the system.
Mm-hmm.
It's also coming out on PlayStation 4.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah.
Which is interesting. They're not doing the, again, comparison to Knack, they're not doing the thing where they're like, this is so powerful, it's got to be on the new hardware.
Yeah. So next we had what I've titled My Little Pony Dinosaur High School Emo Thing, which is dark and sad where everyone dies, but there's a dinosaur band.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's not necessarily my thing. I'm glad they're showing projects like this alongside the big budget titles. It shows Sony's willing to be. I don't know if they're funding it or They're,
I mean,
they're at least willing to showcase weird little things like this alongside the big ones.
so the title of the game is called Goodbye Volcano High. And when I was watching the conference, I was watching Jesse Cox and Dodger do the reactions to it. Reactions. And Jesse hit on pretty much what my exact thoughts were, which is he's produced a game called Monster Prom.
Yeah.
And he said, this is the game that would have happened if we took Monster Prom too seriously. And
Okay.
it does look like that. It's a very similar art style. Looks like it's a visual novel where everybody's going to be emo and sad, and it's going to end up either with me crying at the end of it or me not caring about the characters because they're all arseholes.
Yeah. It's one of those, isn't it?
Yep.
They're all tryhards. Next we had Oddworld. Go on.
So I loved Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exodus on the original PlayStation. And if there were ever a game where I were to look back at it and go, you know what, if that game and that development team had more power behind the console, that would have been a spectacular game. And then they announced Oddworld Soulstorm, and not only does it look dark as fuck, and just, you've got I can never remember the name of the damn creatures, but an Abe type alien with a blade going to cut the cords of his mouth, and it's just sort of, okay, I'm all over this. Oddworld Soulstorm, it's coming in some point in the future, and if it is PS5 only, then I'm probably going to buy a PS5 just for that game. Because it has been far too long since a decent Oddworld game, and it just looks like what my memories of Abe's Exodus and Abe's Odyssey look like.
Mm-hmm. Cracking. Next we had Ghostwire Tokyo. So
big old Tokyo weirdness.
So do you remember last year Ubisoft's E3 conference? There was a woman who came out and was basically all shy and really sort of like the audience was just charmed by her. I think this is the game she was working on.
I don't think it is. I don't think this is a Ubisoft title.
I'm getting this from the Gerard Khalil, the Completionists video on the PlayStation conference. So that's the only source I have. So I don't know if that's right or not.
Okay, right. So Ghostwire Tokyo is a timed exclusive, so it's coming on PC as well. So just let me double check this. I don't think it is. I mean, it might be if it's published by Ubisoft, fair enough. I don't remember. I remember seeing it before, but I don't remember it being at the Ubisoft conference. All I know is that it's weird, creepy Japanese horror with faceless men and headless schoolgirls, and I couldn't be more in.
It looks so good, doesn't it? It looks so like, it doesn't look scary, but the horror aesthetic looks so well done.
So if we ever get around to doing our two idiots play scary games, because we're trying to be Scary Game Squad, but we're not going to be Scary Game Squad.
Scary video games and chill.
Scary video games and chill, yeah. Actually, it would probably be scarier video games and no chill.
No chill, yeah.
No chill.
So
no, I'm not going to spoil that. I'm not going to spoil that because
I nearly did as well, but no, let's not.
Yeah.
So
this will be on that list.
In my handy little notebook that I was using to just scribble down some thoughts as I was watching the conference, I looked back at it and I literally just wrote, first person magic game. Nice.
Yeah, because that's what it is. From the sounds of it, they've rendered pretty much the whole of Tokyo, so I don't know whether it's going to be open world, but I don't care because I am so in.
It looks so good, doesn't it? It looks
It
so
just
so
it does
fascinating.
it looks weird, and I love it.
If it was just battles after battles with these with these really interesting sort of
I
ghost
don't want
creature
to battle
designs.
them. I just want to walk around a corner and just be like, oh, okay, hi, Slender Man, and then turn around and be like, headless schoolgirl. I see where this is going.
Yep.
I have seen enough. I have seen enough hentai to know where this is going. Tentacle comes out the ground, and there's the third one.
Oh, stop. Oh,
Okay, that's coming
right.
in 2021.
Yes. Let's take a little bit of a break.
Yes, shall we? Uh,
Let's.
we are we are bang in the middle. That was number 13, and I'm assuming that's why you've said take a break, or was that just pure coincidence?
Pure coincidence, right? We'll be right back.
Excellent. Another word from our sponsors. We are today sponsored by a first generation iPod Touch with no battery. Keep all of your music on this 32 gigabyte device and never plug it in because you've now got Spotify.
Fantastic. Thank you, first generation iPod Touch with no battery.
Mm-hmm.
And we're back.
I actually got a countdown this time. I'm so happy. Uh, so yeah, where were we?
Next on the list, we've got Jet the Far Shore.
Yeah, you see, I'm not certain of the name of this because
Jet.
I thought it was Jetf. Yep,
Maybe
because
it's
it looked like F on the end.
maybe it's just Jeff.
Maybe it is. Maybe that's the twist. So this looks like a weird space colonization sim. Um, I will talk you through my notes. Soundtrack, soundtrack, colonization sim, soundtrack, scientific. Who is the name of the composer of the soundtrack?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My notes are I honestly don't have a clue.
Yeah, it's that's pretty much what I wanted to say. It's the soundtrack sounded amazing. It looks like a colonization sim of sorts. It looks fairly early on in development, which is worrying given that it's supposed to be out this year, holiday 2020. But yeah, so that's Jet the Far Shore.
Next we have Godfall. I'm
Gearbox does Dark Souls badly.
I don't know. It's like it looks faster paced than Dark Souls. It looks more hack and slashy than Dark Souls, but more Dark Souls than like I don't know,
Yeah.
Devil May Cry. I'm
So I've
kind of
got action robot fighter thing, fast rapping because they were R&Bing the hell out of that trailer.
yeah.
Dynasty Warriors esque RPG.
That's what I don't think it's Dynasty Warriors esque.
No, I don't think it is either. But there was a point where there were a lot of things on screen, and you did seem to be bashing the shit out of them.
It's just weird. It's like I was sort of into the sci-fi sort of melee combat sort of vibe of the trailer, but I wasn't into the presentation of it in the slightest. As you say, the
It's very bright and very colourful, isn't it?
I was meaning the presentation of the trailer, like the sort of
Okay.
the sort of fact that they had this sort of weird sci-fi world where you were sort of hack and slashing your way through, but
But it's Godfall, so apparently you're a fallen god that is just uber powerful, and I'm not sure how. I don't want to be a fallen god that's uber powerful.
mm,
If I want to be a fallen god that's uber powerful, I'll play God of War.
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It did.
God
That's probably where I put it. It's
God of War.
it looks very much like Gearbox trying to combine God of War and Dark Souls with all of the shiny stuff that comes with, running it on whatever engine they're running on. I imagine it's Unreal.
Honestly, the thing I really didn't like was the music used for the trailer, and if that's the sort of vibe that they're going for the whole game, or whether that's just a weird way that they presented the trailer, I don't know.
Yeah, oddly that it was also at the PC Gaming Show yesterday, and it wasn't that trailer. So I don't know.
Oh,
Um,
how
you
did
know,
it look there?
I mean, it looked pretty much the same, you know, but it didn't have the R&B overdub. I think that was because it was more gameplay oriented than, hey, here's a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's coming out holiday 2020. It's coming out on pretty much every device under the sun, and it'll probably get middling to good reviews. And there will be quite a lot of people that play it on Twitch, but it's just not for me.
Fair.
Next up was a game called Solar Ash, which is a weird, artsy, cel-shaded, sci-fi, Zelda-y, trippy bollocks with an
By
amazing sound.
by the makers of Hyperlight Drifter, which I didn't
Yes,
play nearly enough of.
yes, and if it is anywhere near as good as Hyperlight Drifter, then they will have done well.
Mm-hmm. It looks strange because they sort like the tiny bit of gameplay that I saw was the character just skating forward and then the world sort of looping around.
Yeah, no real indication as of yet as to how it's going to play.
No.
But with a 2021 release, there's plenty of time for more information to come out.
Yeah, and the whole science fantasy sort of aesthetic is right up my alley. So
Yeah, I mean, the artsy, cel-shaded trippiness and the soundtrack is enough to drag me in. So, I don't look for much in games these days.
no, and as we said, from the makers of Hyperlight Drifter. So
Exactly, yeah, and that's enough to at least get me to have a look at it.
yeah.
Uh,
Next we had Hitman.
Hitman 3.
Hitman 3. Yeah.
It's the same as the first two games, apart from you're in Dubai
Yep.
and a forest. It looked rather elegant. Death awaits.
So
Hitman 3,
so
January 2021.
so at first I saw the trailer, like the cinematic stuff, and I was like, right, okay, so they're just selling this on name alone. And then they said, let's give you a sneak preview of the gameplay, and I thought, oh, we're gonna see actual gameplay. And then we saw cut, and I was like, oh no, we're not gonna see actual gameplay.
Oh, there was about 20 seconds worth of gameplay. And it
And
was essentially Agent 47 on the Burj Khalifa.
I mean, the other games reviewed well.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed playing 1. I own Hitman 2 because it was part of a Humble Bundle. I'll probably pick up Hitman 3 when it's part of a Humble Bundle this time next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, next is Astro's Playroom, which out of everything on this list was probably the one I was least enthusiastic about, and that's including Sports Ball 2K21.
Really?
Yeah.
You see,
really, really underwhelming.
You see,
like, it just looked bad.
You see, I don't think it looked bad. I thought it looked fine. I thought it looked. I was interested that they had two 3D platformers there. They had and this was their sort of collectathon one, and it comes installed on all PS5s.
Oh, does it?
It does, yeah.
Oh, interesting. So it's like, what is it? Jet Set Willy back on this Sega Mega Drive, was it?
I'm not
know,
sure.
Something. Yeah, there were some dense environments and lots of leaves. Those were my 2 notes.
Well, apparently, I think this. I don't think this was in the actual showcase. I think this was in a trailer afterwards. They sort of showed a little trailer with the DualSense and sort of basically showing that this will show off the capabilities of the DualSense. So I think it's two things. It's pardon?
Tech demo.
A tech, yeah. I think it's a bit of a tech demo, a bit of a look what this thing can do, and I also think it's just a family friendly title that everyone can have.
Yeah, I mean, if they're giving it away for free, that's cool. They didn't really announce a release date on that trailer, but if further trailers have said something different, then good for them. I mean, Sony developed and Sony published, so. Next up is a game which I know you're incredibly excited for because you managed to call out the title before I'd even got to the title, and I was 30 seconds ahead of you.
Yep.
Little Devil Inside.
You were like, you said something along the lines of, "Oh, you must be ahead of me." I said, "No, I've been waiting for this for about 5 years." So it was originally a Kickstarter that sort of looked really promising to me. The art style is just unique and fun.
Oh, the art style is lovely.
It is.
What I put down on my notes is it looks like a cartoony Monster Hunter, but with a weird butler side aspect.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. I think it's a cartoony Monster Hunter. I think that's what it's always been. Like, as I say, back 5 years ago when I was excited for it, that's what it was. It looks a lot more polished than it first did, which it should half a decade later.
Yeah, I mean, still no release date, but it looks good. It's one of those games where I'm probably going to pick it up if I can.
It looks ambitious. It looks like you take out contracts from this town and you go out on adventures and hunt monsters.
Yep.
Looks fun. The next
Yep.
one was sports ball. What actually was this? NBA?
Yeah, this is NBA 2K21. And then we moved on to Bug Snacks, where you get to play a strawberry monster in 4K.
Yeah.
With an Omni narrator from the creator of Octodad. And the longer the trailer went on, the weirder and weirder it got.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked delightful, and then it sort of ended and then got really fucking scary. And I'm not sure what this game is going to be, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, the internet seems to have sort of gone a bit mad for this one. I think people were loving it on Twitter and stuff, but I don't know.
The name itself is enough to just sell so many copies. Just Bug Snacks. It's like, what the? When it first came on, I thought, oh, okay, so this is going to be their attempt at Viva Pinata.
No.
And then it just got weird. It's like, why is that strawberry moving? Why is that strawberry now a monster? Why is the Aussie person eating the strawberry? Why is their arm turning into strawberries?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's my jam, honestly, but
Strawberry jam. I don't know. It's going to be one to keep an eye on. It's coming out this year. Definitely looks a little bit weird.
yeah.
And you know I like weird.
I know you like weird.
Indeed.
Next, we had the Demon Souls remake. So
yeah, it came out of absolutely nowhere.
Well, everyone knew this was coming. Everyone's been saying. So many people have been saying, "What are Blue Point doing?" And so many other people have been saying, "I bet they're doing Demon Souls."
Don't get me wrong. I loved the original Demon Souls. If this is out on anything other than PlayStation, which it probably won't be, I will pick it up. My notes for this are essentially just the trailer: mountains, cult people, zombie bird, big dragon, Demon Souls.
Oh yes, makes sense.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
I love Dark Souls 1 and 3. I've not played number 2. I love Bloodborne. So I'm looking forward to it on that merit. I might finally play Demon Souls, and apparently it's a ground up remake, not just a remaster.
Exactly, yeah. And there were people that I saw at least discussing it, going, "Oh well, it could be a remaster." I was like, "No, did you see that dragon? There's no way that dragon was a remaster.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just simply upscaled. This is a ground up remake, and that is coming at some point in the future, as with quite a lot of these things." Next up, we had re-emergence of Deathloop, which was shown last year at E3.
Was it?
This is Arcane Studios' new cel-shaded FPS, Dishonored-y, time loopy, timey-wimey, Doctor Who-y thing where you're trying to escape, but you keep on dying. But then you go back and you wake up, and it's all Groundhog Day. But there's actually another player character that keeps on shooting you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the original character is like edgelord as fuck, and it's boring.
You see, I thought this looked like interesting and stylish. I didn't think it looked too edgelord. I thought it looked sort of.
No, the main character is edgelord as hell. Really is. He's just sort of like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I don't care." Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. It's going to be one of those games where I probably will enjoy the core gameplay loop, but one of the characters just pisses me off so much that I just don't play it.
I think I could push past that. I think it looks like a lot of fun. I think it'll fill a void after. Well, I've not played Borderlands 3 yet, but as I say, I think it'll fill a void after Borderlands 3, Dishonored, all that sort of thing. I think it'll just be a fun first person shooter.
Yeah, I'm more than willing to be proven wrong.
Next, we had a very big one, Village.
Oh, it was rumored, probably at the beginning of this year, that the next Resident Evil was going to be called Village, and it was going to be set in an open world village where shit is going down. They announced it by saying, "Yep, this is going to be the final game that closes off this character's storyline." And I have no idea whether they're talking about Chris Redfield or if they're talking about Ethan from Resident Evil 7, because Ethan is definitely in this, and Chris Redfield is grisly as fuck and in this and could be a clone, but he might not be a clone, but he's grisly as fuck anyway. I clocked this as being a Resident Evil game about 20% into the trailer, because
Same.
there is a brief snapshot of the Umbrella logo, and I was just sort of like, okay.
Yeah, before the snapshot of the Umbrella logo, I was thinking, is this Resident Evil 8? Is this the sequel to, and it looked like it. And I think when I first saw the
horror game, so.
yeah, I saw that it was an FPS, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this means that it's Resi 7. Then I saw the Umbrella, and I was like, yes, it's Resi 8.
Regardless, I'm having it. I'm all in. Resident Evil is right now can do no wrong. New one, fantastic. It just remains to be seen whether this comes out before or after the Resi 4 remake.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. I'm probably going to be spending an awful lot of money on Resident Evil games next year.
Yeah, I just need to play them all. I said,
and that's why we're going to do scary games and no chill.
Scary video games, no chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need
really good title for that. Why have we not come up with that before? Scary video games, comma, no chill.
Yeah, I love it.
Actually, no. Scary video games, semicolon, no chill.
Yep. Yeah. I said to my cousin, I need to play Resi 1 remake, Resi 2 remake, Resi 3 remake, number 4, either the original or the remake, depending on whether it's out.
Resi 5 we can do co-op. Resi 6 we can do co-op.
Well,
because I'm playing through Resident Evil 5 again with the fucking AI for the co-op, because I will kill myself.
Honestly, my notes with my cousin were like 1, yep, 2, yep, 3, yep, 4. Not you, 7 and 8.
Look, 5 is enjoyable. Right, I wrote a review for Resident Evil 5 many, many moons ago.
Mm-hmm, I remember.
Back when I believed in scores, and I gave it 2 scores. I gave it 1 score if you were playing it on your own, and another score if you were playing it with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Because playing it with a friend is just so much more gratifying, and you don't have stupid bitch what's her face running in front of your gun and wasting ammo 24/7. It got to the point where I was replaying it on PC, and I've played quite a lot of it on PC, that I gave her a stun baton and said, "Cool, you run off and do whatever the hell you want to these zombies. I keep your guns. I shoot the guys. You go out there and be cannon fodder."
At least that's an option.
Still didn't work. The number of bullets I put in the back of her head. Not even on purpose, just accidentally, just because she walks in front of the laser.
Mm-hmm. Next on the list.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, let's. Next on the list, we've got Pragmata.
Weird.
Really
weird. Totally in it. Spaceman in New York with a little girl that 3D prints things.
She sounded like Eastern European-ish, but with like weird psychic powers.
Don't know. There were lots of nice particles, and then a satellite crashed through the ceiling of New York, And then the girl's eyes flashed, and she all of a sudden became a 3D printer and printed a sort of bouncy thing in front of them to stop them getting impaled by the satellite that came
Yeah.
crashing through the ceiling. And then it cut to the title, and then it cut back to them, and they're on the moon looking at the Earth. And I was just sort of like, "This is weird as all hell." I'm so on. I'm so in.
Yeah, and yeah, yeah, I liked it. There was another cat.
Yes, yes. This is. If we had an E3 this year, I get the feeling this would have been the year of cats.
It would be. Um, Interesting thing about this to me, 2022.
Yes, giving themselves plenty of development time.
Not just that, they're showcasing it now.
Yes.
They're basically saying, look, we have things planned further ahead than the first year.
Definitely. Be interesting to see if this is a multi-platform title. But yeah, I mean, Colour be interested. It's definitely on my I'm going to keep an eye on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of another game with a female protagonist and a grizzly old dude named Lance Reddick, Horizon 2 Forbidden West was the last game that was announced.
Mm-hmm.
Surprising absolutely no one, because Ashley Birch has to make money somehow. It looks pretty.
Surprising
There's
no
a giant
one.
enemy robot crab.
Yeah.
And you can do massive damage.
Surprising no one, but like pleasing everyone.
Oh yeah. Alongside this, but not in the actual presentation, they announced a Horizon-based tabletop RPG system that's on the way as well.
It's going to be
and
fun.
I cannot wait to get involved in something like that. And then obviously at the moment there's a promotion with AMD where Horizon Zero Dawn keys are being given out for PC users, so that's going to be hopefully released on PC soon. It was announced ages ago. But the big thing that we're forgetting here is the fact that okay, she's heading west. She goes underwater. There's robot crocodiles. She goes in the desert. There's robot things in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, there's robot elephants. And if I didn't want to play this game already, the original Horizon Zero Dawn, I started watching somebody play it on YouTube, and I stopped because I really loved the world that much that I wanted to enjoy it myself.
Yeah, and that's kind of rare for you, right? Like you don't mind watching a lot of stuff and then playing through it.
No, I watched Spider-Man all the way through. I watched Final Fantasy 15 all the way through, and then played it through myself. There are very few games where I watch somebody and then I go, no, I'm not going to watch this person play through it because I want to play through this myself.
Mm-hmm.
Horizon Zero Dawn is one. Death Stranding was another. There's been a few others that in the past. Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
definitely. Breath of the Wild, I started watching somebody play through it, and then actually, I don't think I even started. I think it just, Super Mario Odyssey. I watched the first 2 minutes, and then I thought, no, this is going to be a game I'm going to have to watch myself. And yeah, I mean, Horizon 2. Everybody's looking forward to it. It'll probably come out holiday next year. And that was what they closed with. And then after Horizon 2, we had the reveal of the actual console. And, the internet has designated it the choice between the mini fridge of the Xbox Series X and the Wi-Fi router of the PlayStation 5. The problem which I've got with this is the fact that mini fridges are, quite big. The PlayStation 5 probably wouldn't fit inside my flat right now.
PlayStation 5 is huge.
Like, you just need to look at the disk drive to understand that. A standard CD is 12 centimeters. A disk drive probably about 14. That disk drive takes up a third of the device.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a good 35, 40 centimeters tall or wide. That's big. That's too big. And it looks like even the surprise announcement of a digital-only version is going to be the same size as well, which makes a little bit of sense, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit thinner without the disc drive, but I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. As I say, the design's growing on me a bit, but it is just huge. It's
I like it. I like the curviness of it. It does. Consoles are moving further and further towards essentially just being PCs. And with the size of the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, you may as well get a desktop PC because you're probably going to be looking at the same amount of space it takes up.
Well, that was my initial reaction to the Xbox, to the Series X. It looks like a PC tower.
Yeah, and the PlayStation 5 looks like one of those elaborate PC towers that somebody spent however many hundreds of hours on. I like the white-black contrast. I like the smoothness and the curviness and the fact that it looks like there's a bit of texture on there. I'm not ever going to be touching a PlayStation 5, so I don't know why they've added different textures, but the key thing is there were two takeaways from this release. Three takeaways other than, size. No price was announced.
Yep.
But then again, the Xbox Series X hasn't had a price either.
No,
I think they probably try and undercut them.
I don't think they were ever going to announce a price at this event.
Which, given how little time there is between now and when it's released, and people are going to want to start pre-ordering, that's
we've not got a release date either. We've got no price or release.
No, just holiday 2020.
Which right now seems like the right thing to do, I think.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the third thing, of course, is the fact that they're starting out with two different editions.
Yeah, that really surprised me. I'm not
surprised because my iMac is 8 years old now, and that doesn't have a disk drive. Things have been moving in that direction for a while.
No, but I'm more surprised at the fact that they're starting out with the two editions. I don't know. I assumed they'd just want the singular product on the shelf.
Yeah, and is there going to be a price difference?
That's the thing. How are they going to entice people to the digital only edition? Because I
don't think they're going to need to.
Do you not think?
No, I think it's a good business move because there are people that don't want to have the storage space for games, as in the physical storage space, as opposed to the digital storage space, which we'll come on to.
But having a disk drive doesn't force those people to buy physical.
No, it just allows them to if they want to.
What I mean is, surely you'd want. Surely there'd have to be a pretty large price difference between the two of them to entice people to not even have the option of physical games.
How much is a Blu-ray player these days? Probably about 50, 60 quid.
Yeah.
50. So knock that off.
Yeah, but which I can see as being a big enough price point because that's a AAA game. It's like, do you want a disc drive or do you want a console in the game?
Yeah. PlayStation is very much a case of you have to install games on the system as well. But I don't know. I still don't think if what we're hearing is true and the storage capacity is going to be the same, which is about 800 gig. That is nowhere near enough. That's at the moment. That's 8 games.
Yeah.
Okay, 8 games. That's you're probably not going to be playing 8 games at once, but
you don't want to have to be deleting and reinstalling and.
Yeah, and then you've got Call of Duty, which releases a 60 gigabyte patch every 25 minutes. Games are only going to get bigger, and games are only going to require more storage space the higher resolution that they get.
Yeah.
And unless you're given the options when you're downloading to download either the 1080p texture pack or the 4K texture pack, which may be a thing that they're moving towards. I don't know. But I don't think going digital only at this point is going to be beneficial for the consumer.
No, me neither. I was talking to one of my friends about this, who his whole thing was he just said, I like physical, so I'll be buying that. And I think a lot of people will be in that boat. Which is why I said I think they'll have to do something like maybe a big price difference to entice people to the digital edition. I know for myself, if there was a 50 quid difference, I'd probably just get the physical, because it's, as you say, it's the smart choice right now. If it was close to 100,
50 quid is a game. So if you were struggling financially, you would go for the cheaper option, and then you could get a full game to go on it as well.
Yeah. Or for kids whose parents are going to buy it for them.
Yeah.
Do you want just the console with this one little game that it comes with, or do you want the console and a full AAA title?
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing, isn't it? There are going to be parents that look at both of them and go, okay, parents, historically we've seen there are a lot of parents that don't know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that's actually a point. I like the digital edition for kids because you can curate what gets purchased and put on the device.
That's a great point, actually.
Yeah, a friend of a kid at school can't lend your 13-year-old Grand Theft Auto 5, which is an 18-rated game, and they play it without you knowing.
More to the point, Grandma and Granddad can't inadvertently be convinced to buy them Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yes, exactly. So that's a very interesting thing there, where if I were a parent, yeah, you best believe I get the digital edition for a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could curate what they want, what they played. That may sound like bad parent. No, that's good parenting.
I was going to say that doesn't sound like bad parenting. That's the exact opposite of bad parenting.
I'm very much of the similar. I was brought up where my dad would, if he was unsure about anything, he would play it or read it or watch it before letting myself or my brother play it. On the flip side, my mother came home from work one day and was talking about Grand Theft Auto 4, or was it San Andreas? I don't remember. One of the Grand Theft Auto games. And she was like, "Oh, you'd never play that sort of game, would you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've been playing it the last few nights." She was like, "But how? It's an 18-rated game." And I looked at her and went, "Mother, I'm 19."
I wondered where that was going.
Oh, that was fun. That was a situation where I think about a week later I went into game, and Oblivion was dirt cheap on PC, so I picked up my special edition copy of Oblivion, and I got ID'd for it, and that's a 15. so I had the two complete flip sides of the coin there.
Yeah. So I grew up sort of playing Grand Theft Auto when I was too young to play it, but I had an older brother. Things just sort of slipped through the cracks like that. But I'm in a weird point where I'd probably let my kids play Grand Theft Auto 3 at a certain age. Not that I have kids. Yeah. But Grand Theft Auto 5 is a completely different kettle of fish, I think.
It's contextual. So is that the bonus with the digital edition, is that you do have this, you are able to curate games better for children or for young players.
Yeah, and parental controls have just got more and more common and more robust, haven't they?
Parental controls, yes, but if you're a kid that owns the console, you're gonna
Oh yeah.
have your way around the parental controls. But being able to say, no, I am buying this game on and putting it on this console, and that's, you know, because a majority of kids don't really have that much disposable income to be
hmm
able to, you know. But if a friend lends you a game, or
As I said, if grandma and granddad unwittingly,
yeah, or oh, don't tell your father.
yeah, yeah, I
Hmm.
know.
The more I think about it, the more I like the fact that they're releasing a digital edition.
Oh, I like it, and I think it's interesting that last generation Xbox went all in with this, and they got laughed out of the room. And now this generation, I still think if PlayStation or Xbox went all in with it, they'd have got laughed out of the room again. But they're going halfway there. They're saying, look, you can keep your physical copies, you can do all that, but here's a digital only edition, and that's interesting to me.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. They're not going to go full into it because you know I don't know. Like you say, there's a lot of people that do like having the physical games. There's a lot of people that like to buy games and then trade them in and
Mm-hmm.
recoup their value that way. And that's not really that. If they went that route, then I can imagine there being an awful lot of kickback. But you know, the the days of the high street gaming retailer are essentially numbered,
Oh,
unfortunately.
they definitely are. They definitely, because even physical games now, you don't always pick up from a high street retailer, do you? It's Amazon.
I don't remember the last time I went into a high street retailer and picked up a game.
I do, and it's
No,
because
no, that's a lie. I do, but it was CEX, and I
okay.
picked up Mario. I picked up Mario Rabbids for my Switch the day before my Switch arrived.
Um, so one of my friends, the weekend of the Animal Crossing launched, I went with them to game, and
Of course,
and they picked up a second-hand Switch because it was all that was available. They literally had one second-hand Switch, and they were lucky to get that because obviously they've been sold out the whole lockdown. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Although they are
they
going back into production, so
but I agree. I agree. The physical game uh, retailer is the days are numbered, unfortunately.
yeah.
One
But on the flip side, there's that positive aspect of you don't get mothers going in and just buying an 18 rated game for their kid because
because they don't know any better.
yeah. But
One one last thing I wanted to touch on this was that to close out the conference, they said something along the lines of that they very much believe in generations. They believe that a new generation of console is something special. There's going to be new experiences to have that you can only have on the PlayStation 5. They basically went all in on that, and it almost seems like a response to Microsoft's moving away from that.
yeah, I mean, there's two sides of this. Um, there's the whole PlayStation 5 exclusive thing, which was touted for uh, before a number of games. Uh, I don't. I the the thing is, there's a new PlayStation publishing art part of Sony, which is PlayStation Games or whatever it's called.
PlayStation Studios.
That's the one. Um, and I can't help but think that that's been established so that they can expand their brand across more than just PlayStation.
Maybe.
Because, you know, they've always had Sony Computer Entertainment America, Sony Computer Entertainment Japan, Sony Computer Entertainment Europe, which has been, their publishing art. But I can understand bringing it all in under one banner. But Microsoft did this with Microsoft Game Studios, and then within a period of time of that happening, decided that no, it's Xbox Game Studios or something, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Microsoft Game Studios is the old 1998 publisher of Age of Empires or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't help it, but okay, fair enough. They're saying, yeah, console generations are a thing. Fair enough, console generations are a thing. Do you know what isn't a thing? Generations of PC games. If Sony move that way, great. If they don't, then we'll see how that works for them.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft saying doesn't matter where you play them as long as you play them is great for the consumers. Sony going, no, you can only play these games on our console isn't consumer friendly. A long time has passed since I was okay with console exclusivity.
I think we're gonna, as I say, we're gonna definitely have to take a deep dive into that because I've got a few opinions of that on of my own. But
yeah, definitely, that's something to be discussed for the future when we know more. You know, because at the moment they're hardly going to say with all of these game announcements. Oh, by the way, you can also play it over here.
mm-hmm.
You know, there are a number of games that are being released cross-platform, or console exclusive, but only for a time. You know, it. Yeah, I think that's probably definitely a conversation for another time when we know more.
Yep, definitely. Right. I think that's about all we have time for today because we've already run over by about half an hour.
It's not too bad considering we had like 26 PlayStation games to go over.
Oh, absolutely.
Despite
Absolutely.
dipping into a number of them in great detail, we still, loosely talked about them all.
Mm-hmm.
So next time I will be hosting, and you will be doing the sponsorship. We've
That's right.
decided. Anybody actually wants to sponsor us, please let us know. But I'm also actually quite happy with the idea that we've come up for sponsoring.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm looking around and seeing plenty of potential sponsorship ideas.
Oh yeah. I'm fairly certain you could just reach to your left and pull up. Hey, sponsored by Walker's Sensations. Check out their new spicy chili flavor.
You weren't meant to mention the Sensations, Dan, and their balsamic vinegar and caramelized onion.
Ah, only the best flavor.
Oh my god.
Ah. So
Right.
yeah, Walkers, if you want to sponsor us, get on that.
You don't even have to send us any money.
Yeah, we'll do it for free.
Send us a bag of balsamic vinegar and caramelized onion if you want, because
yeah, one each. We'll eat them on the show. And then if you want to post our video on your Twitter, that'd be great, and that could be our agreement. Reggie, you must know a guy. You must know a guy at Walkers.
Come on, Reginald.
Come on, Reggie. Our one viewer. Come on, help us get a sponsorship for one viewer.
Right. Thank you for watching, anyone who's made it this far, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching, Reggie. And yeah, see you in a couple of weeks.
See you later.
Bye.